Hello everyone and welcome to an exciting replay of Beyond All Reason. I'm Turd Bucket and I will be taking you through this game. I played with some noobs. I myself can't really be considered a noob at this point, even though I play like one sometimes. I've been playing Beyond All Reason, or a version of it, since I was about 10 years old. So, um, this game started out as Total Annihilation, and it after it wasn't supported for a couple years, it was brought back to life by some awesome developers. There's different varieties as well. I've never played it, but I hear Supreme Commander is very similar to it. But yeah, I'll take you through some of the basics here. We'll kind of look at everybody's starting build and see where we go. So let's get started.
Battle started.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is kind of pause and give you some idea of what you're going to expect when you first jump in. So there's going to be two teams. They can be ranging anywhere from a 1v1 to an 8v8, and then there's some crazy games that I've seen where there's 32 players, but those are rare. They're usually a sponsored event. So you're going to have a team with warm colors and then a team with cool colors, right? And the cool colors team, their captain is going to be blue, and the warm colors team captain is going to be red. That's just, you always know that. That's the highest ranked player. Now, they may not take on the role of captain, they may not direct people where to go and what to do and coordinate attacks, but generally speaking, that's what's up. You can see that everyone's kind of ranked from top to bottom based on their skill level. So, if you see a player that's a higher ranked skill level and they're giving you some advice, or even one that's a little bit lower, closer to yours, they may have discovered something. Always keep an open mind to what they're saying. It might not work for your build, what you're doing, but it's worth considering at least. So I want to take us through, we're just going to go kind of left to right here. So I'm going to start with Jay in the corner. Jay is going to go with 3 mexes. I'm not sure if he's going to build all 3 to start, but at least he's going to have his 3 mechs start here with a solar collector and 2 wind. So this is a play where you are trying not to use up too much metal in the beginning, because the solar collectors cost a lot of metal, but they are steady energy. So if the wind drops and your windmills aren't producing enough, you will have that steady energy there in the background. Tsubaki is going with a 3 mech start with a solar sprinkled in here, and then he's going to drop another mech. I'm sure he'll probably drop some E in there at some point. Myself, I'm going with a 3 mech start, then I go 2 solar, build my lab, and then crank out some windmills, then race around with my comm to build out the rest of my metal. The reason why I do this versus sending out the T1 cons is the commander builds faster. So in my head, although I'm losing some build power and he's a little bit slower, he's going to get around and get those built faster. So in my calculations, it builds faster. And then we've got the windmills here. I'm going to build out a big row of windmills. You can see here in a second once we get started again. And then Saris looks like he is just got 2 mexes queued up. It's not absolutely important that you have your builds fully queued up before we start. It's nice though, especially if things start to happen in the first few minutes. There's a leak or something. You can send your troop out to go stop the leak, and you don't have to worry about what's going on back home at your base. So you see John's fumble. He's got most of his base planned out already. He's going with a 2 mech start, and then looks like he's gonna go into some windmills and then his lab. PCAP, similar thing. Two mexes, windmills, lab. Reiki, 3 mechs, windmills, lab, And Cool K is doing 3, lots of windmills. Hopefully he's not building all those before his lab, but yeah, that's no solars here, 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 and here. Now, the advantage to doing wind is that you're going to have more metal. You can crank out troops a little bit faster, and the wind is builds faster than the solar collector. Um, Cons are if the wind drops, you're going to be in trouble, right? And the other thing to consider is that the windmills do blow up a lot easier. So if you do get a leak, and Reiki's got all his stuff right here, this could be gone in 1 second. And now he's got no energy. Something to consider. The other thing I would consider is that all the players on our side here, on the warm color side, they all started in the 3 mexes. Now there's a bit of a alternate play here that some people will do. There is what Tsubaki's doing, which he's going to start on this mex and walk into his 3 mexes and finish those out. I've also seen eco players start at this mex or this mex and walk back to their 3 mexes. I don't personally like it. My goal when my commander drops, I don't want him moving for the first like 1 to 2 minutes in the back line. It's different when you're on the front, so no, you don't have to worry about this as much on the front. Although I will say you still want to drop in the middle of your 3 mexes. You don't want to be dropping off somewhere else. But the goal would be not to move your comm for as long as possible, because when you start to move, you're not building, you're not doing things, right? So it's a waste. So if your comm can sit in the middle of the base and build all this stuff for the first 1 to 2 minutes, you're going to have greater success because you're going to be ahead of somebody else who's moving their comm back and forth. Now I know that after that I move my comm all around the map. But again, I'm doing that for the build power, and I'm kind of keeping my T1 cons in the base, not moving around them out as eco, which is a very specific position to play. All right, so I really like this game, and the reason why I like it is because you've got Tsubaki and myself. We're the top 2 players, and then you also have Belvrith and YC, and there are the top 2 players, right? So it's an interesting way to look at the game because both the top 2 players have decided to take the exact same position on both sides. So I think it's gonna be an interesting and well balanced game. But let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm gonna unpause here and kind of take a look at what everyone's doing now. So Tsubaki is just making his stuff here. Kind of take a peek at the other team, see how they're doing. So see, Marvek decided to start down here. I would say this is probably the absolute worst play of all time, and I'll tell you why. Look how far he has to walk to get back to this mex that he's going to start next. Instead of maybe starting with these 2, he's bringing in more metal earlier on in the game, whereas right now he's only got 1 mex and 1 solar. Right? He's not doing much in the game. Then he's going to drop another solar. It's going to slow him down a little bit. We'll take a quick peek at Saris, right? So Saris stayed in the middle. He finished out his 3 mexes, has some energy cooking here, and his eco's doing all right. He's hanging in there. He's got his lab. His lab is going now. See, so he's doing all right. We go back to Marvek. Marvek hasn't even dropped a lab yet. I'm actually shocked he dropped another solar. That's interesting. Again, this is a noob lobby. I guess I'm not trying to hate on anybody but it is a very interesting play and not something that I would do, right? You can see YCA is staying nice and tight in his, so that's good. Alvarez, same thing. Strells, same thing. Let's see. Noob Slayer, same thing. Knight, same thing. Arch, same thing. Spice, same thing. So basically everybody's doing the normal, nice tight formation in the early base so you can get that build power boost from your commander. And now we're hitting about the 2-minute mark. This is about when you can expect commanders to start leaving the bases, especially on the front line. And we can see my commander is leaving the base now to grab these mexes. So my opening play is I do one resbot, one con, one resbot, one con, and then another con. If I'm building one for the air player, I give them an option. They can pay 120 metal and get the last con, or they can pay 150 and get it early. That just helps pay me because I'm going to be losing some metal on the map or some mexes at that point. I'm falling behind, so I'm asking them to pay a little bit more. I don't know, capitalism. So I've got my my resbots working on the field. You can see they are going to be collecting these rocks which are around the field to help bring in and boost my metal production. Now this was a fun one. We did get a bit of a leak. Thankfully, that leak ran straight into my commander and I didn't lose a single thing. That would have been pretty annoying to lose that max, but didn't happen. And Saris also did a great job of trying to cover for it. That did come through, I believe, John's lane here. So you can tell I'm very zoomed out right now. Not something that I've been super comfortable with in playing Bar, but I'm forcing myself to get better and to play more zoomed out so that I can see more of the field and understand what's going on. So I apologize if this is not what you're used to seeing, but yeah, this is a better way to play all zoomed out like this. Okay, so we've got a pretty good aggressive team here. We have 3 comms on the front. They are also getting 3 comms up to the front right now. PCAPS is taking his sweet time. Not entirely sure what he's doing there, but he just lost his lab. I didn't even see what happened, so interesting. At any rate, PCAPS should be up on the line by now. It's 4 minutes in. Jay is in the back line. Saris is in the back line as well. It's okay for them to take a little bit more time to get their economy going, because since they're not going to have as many mexes as our front line players here. All right, let's check back in with my eco here. I just want to do a little bit of a comparison. So my play is I go heavy wind and straight into an APHIS. I skip the regular fusion reactor, right? I screwed up here. Recently, I've decided to change my T2 build and suck up the T1 lab before I start building this because it wastes a lot of energy. And I usually I stall out on metal at some point. But my play is I will build out my 2 solars, my mexes, my T1 lab, my wind. My commander does this rigmarole here, and then he continues to just build windmills, right? Dropping storage as we're hitting the 16 on the wind, because we want to make sure we're capturing as much of that high wind as possible. Then I will make those 3 cons like I talked about, build out these E-converters so I have a little boost on my metal, and then drop a storage because I usually go over my metal at some point, sucking up those rocks and having these E-converters, and my comm is building these cheaper windmills, right? So normally I will suck this up, but it looks like I ended up with quite a bit of metal and some early payments on the T2. So the T2 payment is 420 metal. Try to get it as close as you can to 420, especially if you got a lot of metal. Not a big fan of folks with a lot of metal in their reserves and they don't pay the full amount. So just pay that up if you can, and that helps the eco player continue to eco, which can give you a huge advantage later in the game. I know it doesn't seem like a lot of fun in the first 15 minutes of the game, but you'll see if your eco player has the time and has the ability, they can do a great things for you in the end game. So, all right, enough about me. Let's go check in on our counterpart here. So he's got his T2 lab up as well. He's focusing on getting his mexes done. Looks like. Not entirely sure. He must have given away his T2 con to Balvrith. So it looks like he started a couple of them, and then he and then he gave it away. So it's an interesting play. Not something I would do. I would just give everyone their con but continue to use mine. He's going into butlers. Butlers are great. They're fast. They're the fastest, I think. I don't know how fast cores are, but cores usually slower. I think they're the fastest unit that helps build and can build a few things on their own. So he's using the butlers to try to boost this metal production here. He did sack his comm, so what that means is he blew up his commander and then used a res bot or a con to consume the metal so that he would be able to build his T2 left faster. I don't personally do that because I use my comm for the build power to build out those windmills. Might not always work out, but I do think it is very helpful. Okay, let's check in on our front line. So PCAP's still not far enough up. He's got to move up here to the front and try to help plug this hole in front of this little mountain here. That's his job. Reiki's doing an amazing job with Jay and Cool. They've got the opposite side here on the ropes. John has decided to just wall off the canyon and pork up. So he's not building a lot of troops. He's going for the heavier brutes, which costs a lot more. And he's also trying to build some heavy defenses. Probably not going to work out great. If we check in on his economy, he is using 40 metal a second. He's bringing in 24. So he's going to run out of metal very soon here. But it doesn't really matter because Knight is not super concerned with what's going on here. You can tell he's definitely concerned what's going on with Reiki because Reiki is cranking out the troops. Now PKips is going to move up some troops here, which is great. That's what we want to see. We want all these players to know that everyone's on the front line. If they sense that someone's not on the front line, they might try to punch a hole, which
Battle paused.
you can see
Battle started.
would be devastating, right? If Knight and Noob Slayer shot their troops down the middle here, they'd have easy access to my base. I would be toast. So it's important to have presence on here so you can show that there's not these big giant holes that people can get through. Okay, so Jay looks like we lost Cool K. So Jay took. Jay was in the middle of helping plug this hole in the middle, so he moved all his troops over here and is now getting hit by Marvek, who has finally moved up to the front line here. I think because Marvek was so slow, he gave the impression that nothing was going on about the front line from him. So Jay overextended himself a little bit, and it's helping out with this hole here in the middle. Reiki's doing a great job of fending off this attack from Archinder. And Marvek, for some reason, decided to pull back. Thank you, Marvek. Appreciate that. Okay, let's check back in on Eco. So I've got all my T2 mexes started. Only 2 left to go. My next play is to drop the Aphis with my T2 bot, and then I start to create some extra build power with my T1 con here. I'm building up some construction turrets. What those are going to do is they're going to help build this Aphis a lot faster. Energy is holding. We've got a pretty sad wind speed right now, but you can see we got plenty of windmills. We're probably going over. Some other folks are going over on their energy, so it's spilling into ours, and thankfully we've got that storage to help save up for the rainy day. Okay, let's check back in with the front. So now Knight is sucking up all this reclaim. That's not a good thing, right? We don't want the enemy to get the metal that's left over from the wreckage from the battle, right? So Knight is pushing forward trying to reclaim this, right? And what we should be doing is at least harassing him with something so he knows he can't just have this for free. Not sure why he's not, maybe because he doesn't have a lot of troops right now, but he could be taking all this reclaim right now and converting it directly into troops, which could be quite devastating. Let's check in with my counterpart on the eco side. he is decided to go with a fusion reactor before his Aphis, and he is still selling T2 to the rest of the team. Balvreth has sucked up his lab. He's decided that just a few planes are worth the squeeze, and now he has no anti-air or fighters to fend off this attack. Tsubaki, on the other hand, went heavy into bombers. You'll see this. We'll check back in on his base here in a second. And everyone starts desperately making anti-air to try to stop him. You can see his eco player calling him out for being too greedy. Interesting bombing run. I'm not saying it was bad, but you can get a lot more quick hits with these converters, right? And it could have done a lot more damage, but he gets the fusions. Technically, Balvrith could just make some res bots and res those. Looks like one of them survived, so didn't take the direct hit of the bombing. He also loses his T2 con, which is huge. Now he'll have to get another one from the eco guy, which is going to set him back. Meanwhile, Jay has a little run by here on the front line, which is forcing Marvek to push back. Now you can see this line is collapsing for them. However, we have nothing on the front, so we've basically sent everything we have at them at this point. Jay is going to try to take out some of these windmills. He's going to keep moving, which is great. That's what you want to do. And he neutralizes the guy on his front, which is who's that? Spice must flow. Now he's heading back for Marvek, which would be huge if he gets Marvek on this. Eco player now has to shift into building sprinters to get them over quickly. Everyone hates on sprinters. I love them. You can build them quickly and they move quickly, which is what they're useful for, right? All right, let's check back in. So I got my Aphis done. Probably, I think I got this one done around the just before the 13-minute mark, which isn't too bad. I do like to get my Aphis done at the 12:30 mark if possible. It's rare when I can do that. You've got to have a perfect combination of great wind and lots of metal sucked up on the map from your res bots. So it doesn't always happen, but you know, it looks like a rare occurrence where I did get it around that 13-minute mark, and then I dropped 5 of these advanced energy converters, which are going to change that energy that I'm producing into metal. I'm going to need that metal because I'm going T3, baby, all the way. This is going to crush them, right? Our top player, Tsubaki, you can see his base. It's vastly different from Balvrith. Balvrith has eco everywhere, man. He went hard on eco. You can tell Tsubaki's base is built for production. He has got lots of planes out. Well, he had a lot of planes out when he did that bombing run. And he had lots of bombers. So he poured his resources into making units. And that is honestly the biggest thing about Bar, about Beyond All Reason. You've got to focus on making those units. Unless you're going to go for a sneaky play, like I'm going the T3 rush, or if you're going to do a nuke rush. You've got to, if you're not doing either of those things, you are not supposed to be ecoing. You are supposed to be making troops. Okay. So they're calling for a resign vote at this point because they're feeling the pressure. And as they're calling that resign vote, Archinder is getting a run-by directly into Reiki's base. Reiki has played an amazing game at this point. You know, he's done a phenomenal job. I would not say this is his fault. I think it was a combination of Jay pushing into the base here and also going over to help on this side. So I send my Marauders over. It kind of sucks because now the other team knows I have T3 and I don't have the full amount of Marauders that I'd like. for a push, but Reiki, regardless of if he deserved it or not, I would have still gone and helped him, but it is definitely you've got to help your team out, right? Even if you're going to lose an advantage like I did with the element of surprise. All right, so Jay, he started pulling his comms back, and that is not a good move. You want to keep your comms up on the front line so they can degun. Players will not be as excited to send their troops into a hole if they know there's a commander there. Okay, so they spot my T3. They know it's coming. I've lost the advantage. However, I think I can still get through with these Rotters because they are T3, so they have a little more damage potential than T1 and T2, but they are the weakest of all T3 units, core and arm. The advantage are they are super fast, so they can run past stuff very quickly. We'll see that here in a second. He's got these tanks, which are very slow. I'm telling my team to go because I know that they're gonna mob up my T3, try and stop it. But again, it's fast. I'm running past all of their stuff right now, right? And I can walk right over these walls, as we'll see here in a second. As long as they're T1. If it was T2 walls, I don't think you could do that. You could be knocked down. Meanwhile, Tsubaki, honestly MVP of this game, he's coming through with a bombing run. Just completely demoralizing them, right? And their eco guy has decided to go into air and build a lot of fusions. So he's got nothing. So my Rotters are just running right through. Jay's doing the right thing and pushing at the same time. That's what you want to do. Right after a T3 attack, most of the troops are going to focus on that T3 because they can do the most damage. That's the time to get your T1, which is pretty pointless at 20 minutes into the game, into your enemy's bases because their T2 and most of their T1 troops are going to be focused on taking out that T3. See, I come through here, take out Wysa, and Bolivar's going to come and try to get a D-gun on me. Not great micro on my part, but I take him out. Still have a few Rotters left. And now we are just going to try to take out the rest of his build power here. He does have a few planes left to try to take out my Rotter. But the game's effectively over. We've wiped out their entire left side. And we've got T1 units in the back of their base now. So, I mean, there's really nothing left we can do here. Or they can do, I should say. Bad micro on my part. I think I just sent this Rotter in. I was not paying attention. At this point, I think I was starting to micro these guys here. Plan was to just come down and crush Knight and then sweep through the rest of this base here. So I think they're calling another resign. I don't remember if they resigned this time. But again, showing you that around the 15-16 minute mark, the front lines held. They did their job. Yeah, there was a few things that went wrong here and there, but for the most part, everyone held, and being able to hold for 15-16 minutes, not stress your eco player out. You can see the difference here. This guy, he had to switch into sprinters, and he chose to switch into air, which I don't agree with, but he did it. And so that ultimately, he had no response for these Marauders. He had no eco. He decided not to go into an APHIS, which again I think was a mistake. Even if you don't want to do the windmill into APHIS play, you can still build one fusion then switch to APHIS. It's just so much more cost effective to do that. It does not make sense to build a bunch of aphises. So basically, our front line did its job. Their front line really did its job as well. I would actually say their back line is the one that lost in this game. Their top player was super greedy. Their eco player was not very good, or at least he got too distracted and didn't really do a great build. And then their corner players did not play as well as they could have. I think the corner canyon was probably the best play out of all of them in the back line. But, I mean, Marvek didn't do a very good job, and neither did Balvarith or Wysia. So, again, it's not saying that anybody is a bad player or not. It's just in this particular game, they did not do a great job. So, something to consider when you're playing. Turn your resources into troops. If you're not going to turn them into troops, you have got to crank out something special, like a nuke or early T3 or early T2. You don't want to do that if you are if you're not eco though, right? If you're in one of the corners, you should be working to help the front. You can see how Marvek didn't get to the front in time, and it really helped us establish a very strong front early on. Now you can ask in the beginning of the game as a corner player where Marvek was in the bottom left corner, hey, is it okay if I do a nuke rush, or if I, I'm gonna boost the guy in front of me. I'm gonna give him all my resources so he can get an advantage and get up there quicker. These are things that you can do if you want. I wouldn't necessarily recommend them, especially if you're a new player. But it's things that you should do if you're only going to focus on that. But because the moment you start to focus on something else, you're going to you're going to fail at what your first objective was, and you're going to end up costing your team the game. So on the opposite side, Tsubaki and myself, we kind of played our roles. We did what we were supposed to do, along with the rest of our team. Did a phenomenal job getting up to the front line, holding it, pushing them back, causing some havoc, and that gave Tsubaki and myself enough time to build up him to build up his Air Force, and for me to build up my T3. And then they had no answer to either attack. Those two devastating attacks from the air and from the T3. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.